Secret spoiler in Spider-Man Far From Home trailer found. It dropped. As of January 15th, the teaser trailer to Spider-Man Far From Home is now available to everyone online. And for a teaser, there's a good bit to unpack. This is the first trailer of the MCU's Phase 4. Exciting stuff. Despite that though, there are no mentions to the events of either Avengers Infinity War or Avengers Endgame as expected. We'll break down the important bits of the trailer and a few Easter eggs that appear. Let's talk about it.
Before we hop into the video, remember to subscribe and turn notifications on. And don't forget to leave a like and comment down below saying you did so, and we'll try to respond to as many of you as we can.
Aunt May, Happy, and Spider-Man. Once the trailer gets rolling, we see Aunt May giving thanks to Spider-Man on stage in front of a crowd of reporters. The two characters are at a charity dinner for a homeless shelter, and it looks like Peter is here as Spider-Man in order to boost the shelter's publicity. This is our first Easter egg. In the 2018 PS4 Spider-Man game, Aunt May worked at a homeless shelter called Feast, and even became its head when the original organizer, Martian Lee, gave into his villainous persona, Mr. Negative. May and Spidey are showered with the flashes of cameras, and then we see them backstage giving each other high fives and celebrating. Notably, Peter has his mask off in this scene. The end of Homecoming showcased Aunt May finding out about Peter's secret, and she seems to not only have gotten over her initial shock, but supports it. Happy comes stumbling in holding a check from Synchrony for $500,000. This is the second Easter egg. Synchrony is a real bank that has MasterCards with artwork of Marvel characters on them. Weirdly enough, Happy and May start talking, and it's obviously flirtatious. Peter's as surprised about the whole thing as the rest of us are, but flirting and budding romances are themes that appear throughout the trailer. Avengers Tower. Spider-Man packs up for his school trip, even visiting Mr. Delmare for some toothpaste. But as he's on his way to pick up his passport, we see him swing by Avengers Tower. And from the looks of things, Tony found a buyer for it since it's under reconstruction. Considering the trailer went out of its way to show this, whoever bought it must play some kind of role in the MCU later on. We think it might be Norman Osborn, probably buying it to refurbish it into Oscorp. He's the only super rich character closely tied to Spider-Man that comes to mind. He and his son Harry play pivotal roles in Spidey's development, but haven't appeared in the MCU yet. The last two reboots of Spider-Man heavily feature these characters and their villainous personas, so Marvel wanted to depart from them for a bit. Maybe they feel it's time to reintroduce them. When Spidey arrives at the post office as Peter to pick up his passport, we get the next Easter egg. Peter's birth date on the passport shows that he was born in early August, the same month of Spider-Man's first ever appearance as a comic book character. Peter and May have an exchange about if Peter's got all his stuff for the trip. She tells him to pack his suit, but as the trailer cuts back to Peter packing his suitcase, we hear his response to May in a voiceover. He just wants to go on a trip with his friend. Europe doesn't really need a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. To this voiceover, we watch Peter eye his suit and close his closet on it, but it's clear he's debating the decision. The next scene gives us another Easter egg. When Peter closes his suitcase, we get a close-up of the initials BFP on it. BFP stands for Benjamin Franklin Parker, Peter's deceased uncle, who we don't hear too much about in the MCU. Again, two previous reboots. We don't see Peter's suit in the case, but considering his closet is open again in the next shot, and we see him in the Stark tech suit later on in the trailer, it's probably safe to assume he changed his mind to take it with him. Blossoming romance. This is where the budding romance theme jumps into full swing. We see Peter run to and hop on his plane, then catch him on a boat ride with his classmates. Betty takes Ned's photo, and MJ and Peter look like they're stealing glances of one another whenever they get the chance. Later, in a classic theater, we see Peter awkwardly try to flirt with MJ, and she has a little laugh messing with him before flirting back in her own comical way. There are hints later on in the trailer that Ned and Betty are possibly a thing. When the bridge is attacked by elementals, the two of them are holding hands while running. Betty also has her hand on Ned's back in the very last scene of the trailer. Nick Fury and the elementals. Ned gets tranked in the neck as he starts to open up about his own love life, and we see that the shooter is Nick Fury. In a scene reminiscent to the end credits of the original Iron Man, Nick claims it's nice to finally meet Spider-Man. He tells him to suit up and recruits him for a mission. The next series of shots jump back and forth through time and are packed with action. The important bits they show are namely Spidey fighting off the fire and air elementals as they attack London Bridge, and Nick Fury and Mariah Hill fighting off the Earth elementals. We get our next Easter egg here too in Spider-Man's new web glider suit. The suit seems to be another throwback to Spider-Man's original Amazing Fantasy appearance. Both suits have his web gliders and feature a black and red appearance instead of blue. The suit in the comics was blue, but looked black. Speaking of new suits, the Shot series ends with us catching a glimpse of Spider-Man in his new noir-looking stealth suit out in what looks to be the carnival area where he fought Mysterio in the comics. Mysterio. Finally, the trailer shows us the water element, the last of the four, attacking Peter's class and other tourists. As Peter's being overwhelmed, Mysterio makes his grand appearance in a puff of green smoke. He proclaims, "You don't want any part of this," then leaps into action and battles the Elemental while fully geared in his fishbowl helmet and what looks to be a Chitauri-based armor. Mysterio's fighting style is oddly similar to Doctor Strange. He flies around casting spells conjured through magical symbols, only Mysterio's are green instead of the usual gold. It's so reminiscent to Strange, in fact, that Mysterio may have actually been to Kamar Taj and based his fake style on their sorcerers. The background makes more sense when considering two things: the fact that Mysterio may have created the Elementals as a ploy, and the fact that the real Elementals are actually Doctor Strange villains. It doesn't make much sense for another hero's villains to be attacking Spider-Man, but it does if they're just Mysterio's illusions. Mysterio's main motivation is to be a hero, and if he went to Kamar Taj only to fail in gaining real powers, it probably drove him to becoming a hero the shady way. Armed with knowledge from Kamar Taj, he knows who the Elementals are and is using his illusion-creating technology to display their forms and trick the world into believing that he's stopping him. After all, Nick Fury recruited Mysterio because Mysterio claimed to have more knowledge than anyone else on these things. He would if he created them, right?